What up, and what's poppin'? It's your dog Breeze from Fahrenheit 451, part of the Fourth and Gold Network. We're burning the books alive. We had to fight yesterday. To only lose one unit. 4 and 5 day yesterday. Went 0 and 4 in the Dallas Wings game. Tasha Howard built a brick house. They stole 2 rebounds from Monique Billings. Tierra McCowan. Freaky T decided to hoop yesterday. But we pretty much hit everything else. Joy Lloyd went stupid. She just fell 1 of her 35. We needed some Ezzy McBagore rebounds to catch the plus 1200. But we did hit Caitlin Clark 6 assists. Our 7 assists. Ariel Atkins under. And there's one more pick that we hit yesterday to go 4 and 5. But we missed Stephanie Dawson. We missed her under. Well, we missed her over 6.5 or over 5.5 rebounds. Excuse me. Nate, baby, what's the good word? But nevertheless, man, let's get back into it. Back on my best bets in the WNBA for June 28th. Only 2 games on the day. The first game we have the Connecticut Sun, fresh off of a back-to-back and overtime at that. Oh yeah, I've seen that, Boost. We finna cook something up. Finna give you some info that might be beneficial for that just now. First game, the Connecticut Sun, fresh off the back-to-back and the overtime game at that, taking on the Atlanta Dream, who've been chilling at the crib for like the last 5 days. Daniel Berry in the house. What's the good word? In that game, I got a couple leans. My first lean is going to be DeWanna Bonner over her 7.5 rebounds, minus 105 odds over at DraftKings. She's had 8 rebounds or more in her last 7 out of 10 games. 10 rebounds the last game versus Atlanta. Atlanta allows the most defensive rebounds, and they allow the 3rd most rebounds, period, in the WNBA. My next lean is going to be Tyasha Harris over her 9.5 points. Minus 125 over at ESPN. She's hit this line in her last 9 out of 10 games with highs of 23, 14 twice, and 13 on 2 occasions. In her last meeting versus the Atlanta Dream, she went 4 out of 13 from the field, and she finished with 13 points in her last game versus ATL. That's going to be dope. It's going to be some King Griffey shit out there in LA. I can't wait to see how that plays out with LeBron and Bronny. But what I did do, since both of these props will probably hit on their own, I just don't want to, overexpose myself after the debacle that we had yesterday. So I'm just not going to have 4 plays in this first game. I might have 4 plays in the second game, but I'm not going to have 4 plays in this first game. But what I did for minus 140, instead of taking DeWanna Bonner over her 7.5 rebounds, and instead of taking Tyasha Harris over her 9.5 points, I simply took DeWanna Bonner for her 7 rebounds and Tyasha Harris for 5 points over at Bet365, comes to total of minus 140 odds. Next, in that Connecticut Sun game, give me Dejanay Mustard. Dejanay Carrington of the Connecticut Sun over 11.5 points, minus 118 odds over at FanDuel. She's hit this line in her last 7 out of 10 games with highs of 22, 22, and 19. The last time that she faced off against these these Atlanta Dreams, she went 6 of 10 from the field, finished with 15 points. All right, so in the first game, the Connecticut Sun game, I'm going to be taking DeWanna Bonner, 7 rebounds. Pair that with Tyasha Harris to score 5 points, minus 140 over at Bet365. Next, I'm going to be taking Dejanay Mustard, Dejanay Carrington, over 11.5 points, minus 118 over at FanDuel. Now, the next game that we do have on this schedule is the Los Angeles Sparks traveling here to the desert, man, to take on the Phoenix Mercury. Last time they played, they got that ass smacked by about 20 points. I think the exact same thing is going to happen. The Sparks are going to be today without Larisha Clarendon, Lexi Brown, and without Cameron Brink. Probably be without Cameron Brink for the season. Probably be without Lexi Brown for a good point in time, as she is dealing with Crohn's disease. We hope that those ladies have speedy recovery and they get back to the court soon. However, they are not playing today. And you have the Phoenix Mercury at full strength. So what I did do is I went and found me a nice, good alternate spread. I went to Bally Bet, because DK had a line, but Bally Bet had a better line. So I went to Bally Bet and I got the Phoenix Mercury full game spread minus 8.5. Like I said, they beat these girls by like 20 last time. That was without Brittany Griner, and now they are at full strength. So I'll be taking the Phoenix Mercury on the spread for my third official play. Now, my next official play is probably my favorite play of the day. Yesterday, one of my favorite plays of the day was Natasha Howard, and we've seen how that went. So we're going to tread lightly. However, the books are thinking just like I'm thinking. So originally the play was Kia Nurse over 7.5 points at minus 120 odds over at Bet365. It has since moved up to 8.5, and it has since moved from 8.5 to 9.5. So the current bet is going to be Kia Nurse over 9.5 points at minus 120 odds over at Bet365. So if you just missed me 3 seconds ago, Brink, Brown, and Clarendon are going to be out for today, and we're just talking about today, but they'll probably be out for extensive periods of time. So Kia Nurse will probably play 25 minutes or more like she played in the last game when they were missing a lot of people. When Kia Nurse plays 25 minutes or more, she has had this season 23, 13, 13, 22, 17, 12, and 12 points. So you telling me I could have got her at 7.5 this morning, and she's probably going to play another 25 minutes because they're missing half the team? Are you shitting me? Man, I absolutely love that play. I'm also going to lean on her over 1.5 3-pointers. It's pretty much like a Brianna Stewart type of thought process. You know what I'm saying? She going to for sure probably make one. She going to shoot 3 or 4. We just need her to knock down a couple. So my next official bet is going to be Kia Nurse of the Los Angeles Sparks over her 9.5 points, minus 120 odds over at Bet365. That is the only book that I found Kia Nurse lines at. I've looked probably about 8 different sports books, and Bet365 is the only book that has Kia Nurse lines. All right. Next up, I'm going to be going Dearica Hamby over 15.5 points, minus 120 odds over at FanDuel. She has hit this line in 14 out of 17 games. In that span, she's had highs of 29, 24, and 23. The whole team is injured. Dearica Hamby, you're going to have to do something. So I'm taking Dearica Hamby over her 15.5 points, minus 120 over at FanDuel. She had 23 points the last time that she faced off against the Phoenix Mercury. However, Brittany Griner wasn't in there. But, you know, I was just thinking a little earlier, man. If I'm Kurt Miller, and, you know, Kurt Miller has had questionable moments. Kurt Miller, the coach of the Los Angeles Sparks. If I'm Kurt Miller, I would just put Lee Yaru on Brittany Griner and tell her to use her 6 fouls generously. Therefore, Hamby wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? Hamby wouldn't really draw that matchup, and she would have more energy and effort to contribute to her offensive game. But that's just me. Nevertheless, officially, I'm taking Dearica Hamby over her 15.5 points, minus 120 odds over at FanDuel. This play it's going to be a lean, but it's going to be a heavy lean because I really see it getting there. I'll be on this somehow. Natasha Cloud of the Phoenix Mercury over 10 points. It was earlier minus 128 over at FanDuel. Now it's minus 135. It was minus 140 earlier. It's just moving around a little bit. Natasha Cloud to register 10 points. She's had 11 and 14 points in her last 2 games, 21 points in her last game versus the Los Angeles Sparks. I think Natasha Cloud gets 10 points just off a fast break. Fast breaks and defense. Defense and fast breaks. I think Natasha Cloud walks into 10 points. Last but not least, I'm officially going to join the public, and I'm going to take BG, man. Brittany Griner over her 19.5 points. If you caught me over on Dream Stream yesterday, and I said it was going to be a Brittany Griner masterclass, it's going down in about 5 hours or so. Brittany Griner over 20 points, minus 115 odds over at ESPN. I think I just saw it at minus 114 at FanDuel before I jumped on stream. She's hit this line in her last 3 out of 5 games with 1 hook. 24 points in all of those games, 24, 25, 28, and 19 points, 24, 25, 28, 19, and 10 points in her last 5 games, 24 and 29 points in her last 2 games versus the Los. I also like Brittany Griner as a lean to register the first basket. You can get her Brittany Griner first basket, first field goal, whatever, however they word it, over at Bet365 for plus 400. 100. Definitely worth a sprinkle. So for me to recap everything, my official plays for today are going to be Brittany Griner from the Phoenix Mercury over 20 points. Kia Nurse of the Los Angeles Sparks to register 10 points. Dearica Hamby of the Sparks to register 16 points. Dejanay Carrington of the Connecticut Sun to register 12 points. Wnba Bonner to register 7 rebounds, parlayed with Tyasha Harris 5 points. And last but not least, the Phoenix Mercury minus 8.5 on the spread over at Ballybet. And I will be leaning Wnba Bonner over her 8 rebounds, Tyasha Harris over her 10 points, and Natasha Cloud over her 10 points. That's the show for today, man. Thank you, everybody, for pulling up. Thank you, everybody who will pull up later. Comment and subscribe for your daily sports betting videos and analysis. Let's keep burning them. As always, I will see you tomorrow. For tomorrow, I like Asia Wilson, 25 points, parlayed with Kelsey Plum, 2 3-pointers made. That is plus 115 over at Bet365. Just a sneak peek for tomorrow. Love, peace, and fish grease, man. Parlays and Builders will be over on Twitter. Don't meet me there. Beat me there. I'm out, man. Let's get some money. See y'all in a minute.